I love the MP7 from the look of it, its small form factor, its unique caliber that it fires. It's just fantastic. And I also love hipfire builds. So I thought I would make an MP7 hipfire build to share with all of you. Now, first things first, shout out to the devs for hooking me up with this fancy new skin from the storyboard collection. So starting off with a blank slate here, we have a nice looking MP7. We're going to start off by changing out the barrel. So you have three options here. Now I went with the MP7 enhanced barrel combo because you get the extra patch slots, you get an extra 2 meters in range, and you also get +1 control for no other negatives, as opposed to this one where it drastically decreases your accuracy, and this one somewhat increases it, but you lose those 2 slots for the right and left patch. So I just chose to go with this one. For the muzzle device, now I went with the titanium contest muzzle brake to reduce some of that control or recoil, make it easier to control. You still feel the recoil even if you're not ADSing, which is why I wanted to put this one on. You could put something like a suppressor if you want to go a little bit more quiet as well and get some nice flanks. For the foregrip, I went with the competition hand stop, which is right here. So you get a massive +12 accuracy, +5 handling. So this thing is going to be super snappy, and -2 control. But you know what? Since it's a hipfire build, not that big of a deal. For the magazine now, I opted to go for the 60 rounder. You do get a lot of penalties for this, which is unfortunate. You could maybe go for the 40 rounder, but you get still that -8 accuracy. So I figured you might as well just go with the 60 rounder if it's going to give you the same penalty for the accuracy. So just slap that on. For the rear grip, I simply went with the MP7 balanced rear grip, giving us +4 accuracy and positives across the board for the rest. For the stock, we're going to go with the only stock that provides you with extra accuracy, which is the MP7 bolt cover, giving you again a nice +12 in accuracy at the cost of control and stability, but you're going to be using this weapon quite aggressively. For the optic, any red dot will do here. I just went with the XRO quick response sight. And then for the right rail, I put on a red laser here. So go ahead and equip that. This is going to make your ADS time even snappier, hip firing speed as well. And then finally for the 2 patches here, we're simply going to put on the Hornet handguard panel, which gives you +4 per, which is probably one of the best panels out there for an investment of a slot on a weapon. Moving on to the calibration here, for the barrel, we're going with +50 grams and -10 millimeters. Don't really need that extra muzzle velocity. And I did want to have a little bit of extra firing stability on this weapon, so we decreased the ADS movement speed slightly, but again, hipfire build, you're not ADSing all that much anyways. For the foregrip, we're going +20 grams and +20 millimeters, getting +4% extra control and +16% stability when moving. The weapon was swaying quite a bit even when you weren't ADSing, which is why I wanted to have this extra stability when moving. For the rear grip, we're going with +50 and -20 millimeters, so we kind of counteract what we just did with this one, but I did want that extra hipfire aim speed and the extra control. And for the stock, +50 grams, +50 millimeters, extra firing stability, extra control at the cost of hipfire aim speed and aiming stability while breathing. But I did want to have some extra stability for the rare times in which I would have to fire at somebody that's a little bit longer ranges. If you have the stability down too low, it's just like impossible to fire, and you're barely going to see anything when you fire. And then for the optic, we're going with -20 millimeters in eye relief. So if we look at the stats of the MP7 before moving on to some footage here and just ramblings, so the control is basically the same as it was at the start. So you only get a little bit less firing stability here. As you can see, we're at 1.01x, and the recoil pattern is basically the same overall. The handling, very, very snappy. So you can see the current ADS speed is 231 milliseconds minus the 50 milliseconds that is given with the laser. So bringing that down to 181, which is incredibly fast. And then the current sprint to fire delay is 88 milliseconds. So it's like a snap of a finger and you're ready to fire. Current ADS movement speed took a little bit of a hit, so 0.04 meters per second slower, and then the reload time is pretty long, so make sure you have a trusty sidearm there. And then for the stability, you're not really going to be firing this weapon at range or continuously while ADSing, so that doesn't really matter. And then for the accuracy here, we have 96, so we bumped it up by 28, so you're going to be able to easily hip fire down people up to 25 meters. You can even go and try it yourselves in the firing range. In order to use this MP7 build, you will need to level it up to level 58 to unlock the 60 round drum mag. Now, really the strength of the MP7 is in its fire rate at 950 RPM. It's not the fastest firing SMG in the game, but it's pretty damn close, and it's got a damage model of 20, so it's taking you 5 shots to kill in that CQB range of 22 meters with this specific build. So you're just going to be mowing down enemies, and if you get headshots mixed in there, it's 25 5 damage. So if you get 4 headshots, it's 4 shots to kill. If you get only body shots to the chest and the upper limbs, it'll take you 5 shots. But yeah, you can just mow through hordes of enemies with this thing. And the sprint to fire delay that we have on this thing is so quick that if you come face to face with an enemy that is already ready to fire, you're probably still going to be able to potentially kill them just because of how fast you can go from sprinting to be ready to fire, or at least hip fire. In terms of time to kill, it's about middle of the road with all the other SMGs that are available to the support class. But they all have such fast TTK in that CQB range that you're not really going to be able to tell the difference that much between like the MP5 Vector and the MP7. They're all going to feel pretty similar. Now, obviously with the MP7 or this specific build, you're going to want to play quite aggressive. So playing someone with Stinger, allowing you to have access to smokes and the smoke wall, will make it so you can break line of sight and then potentially flank around or push the enemies without them really knowing where you are. And obviously that 60-round mag is going to allow you to take down many enemies if they're all in a bunch and they're maybe not aware of you. Yeah, you can just have a field day and it is an absolute blast. So as per usual, the weapon share code will be in the description down below as well as in the top pinned comment. If you have a suggestion for an upcoming build, please leave it in the comments as well. In any case, I will leave you with some highlight clips of me using the specific build. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, thanks very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.
That was close! Draw in the curtains! Try not to get yourself hurt, alright?